Greetings, family. This is Deanne Nunez with the H2O Network, and here are my notes on November 3rd's new moon in Scorpio solar eclipse. Remember that the effects of any eclipse, whether it's lunar or solar, can be felt 3 to 6 days before and 3 to 6 days after, so we are still percolating in this energy of the new moon in Scorpio solar eclipse. Very heavy but profound energy that is happening now. The moon represents our emotions, our instincts, moods, urges, desires, and the feminine principle. And I love new moons and full moons. Full moon is the highest point of culmination in energy, and a new is starting a new slate, starting things over, beginning things. And depending upon where the moon lies, it can be a beginning and an ending can happen at the same point. It's a time of gathering our thoughts, planning our campaign for the essence of ourselves, meaning going inward. Scorpio is a creature that goes inward, very nocturnal in nature, very womb in nature. It also, like the snake and other insects in its category, sheds its skin, beginning anew, shedding our old skin into something new, birthing something, creating conception within the womb, planting seeds. Also remember, family, again, anytime there's an eclipse, whether it's lunar or solar, the seeds that you throw out into the universe can last up to 6 months. So this new moon in Scorpio, very, very profound in nature. The urge. Moon also, again, as I stated, represents urge, desires, our emotions in nature. Scorpio is a very emotional sign. Not only do we go inward, but Scorpio deals with the psychological, the deep, dark psychological aspects of reality, how we feel about things, our desires. Scorpio is coupled with Pluto and Mars. Mars is our passion, how we move in the world, how we take action, but I'm only going to speak of Pluto in this sense. There may be an urge to harness under divine guidance and the resources of our human soul productively and utilize them in a way that helps us to grow in a better way. Seeking truth. Scorpio also deals with the element of truth. For instance, if we are not living our truth, Scorpio propels us to live that subconsciously or consciously. I'm noticing that during this new moon time, there are a lot of people who are in situations that they know intuitively are not for the best interest of the growth of their spirit, the growth of their soul, purpose. And situations, the universe is putting us in situations to get you out of something that is not meaningful and advances your soul. For example, this might be a time where individuals are shedding of relationships or losing jobs. Look at it from a very deep perspective, meaning that if we don't take action based upon our true soul purpose, the universe will pull us out of situations that could be detrimental to our growth as human beings, as soul beings here on planet Earth. And I always say, when the universe does something to make things move, it can be very chaotic in nature. So just something to point out. We need to harness, if you will, our soul energy, our true soul energy, and stand in the essence of truth. Again, Scorpio deals with our truth. Are you living your life, or are you living someone else's truth? Very much important. I think this is the theme, the theme of this year. And each month, the layers of the onion get peeled back. Again, Scorpio is very deep in nature. It never looks at anything from not well, I shouldn't say it never does, but it doesn't just look at the mundane aspect of reality. It looks at deeper aspects of reality. It goes deep into the psyche, deep into the soul, deep inward, if you will. It's also a wonderful time, family, to go inward, to isolate oneself in a healthy, balancing way in order to investigate the essence of your soul purpose, why you're here, getting to know your spiritual software and enhancing that in nature. There are many synchronicities. Scorpio deals with the aspect of mystical, the occult, the unseen, the hidden. So make sure, again, that you pay attention to the synchronicities that are happening in your environment, because they're of a plethora right now. I can't begin to tell you how many synchronicities I've seen within the past 2 weeks. So just step back, observe what is going on in your environment, because it could be very profound in nature. And also digging deep within the aspect of your psychological self, because that is a part of our spiritual software. And as human beings here on planet Earth, in the mundane aspect of reality, we have been socialized to a lot of things that really hinder our spiritual growth. Again, Scorpio can bring one to the realization of your psychological fears, your conditioning, how it can cause one to be concerned with growing their assets in a mundane aspect of reality. What are your attachments to the material world that are excessive in nature, that keeps you at a surface level of reality? Scorpio can bring those things into aspect. What are you worried about? What are your worries? Anything that deals with the essence of loss, worriness, obsessive behavior. Scorpio brings this into the light. And when you're dealing with a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, it amplifies the energy of already what is the moon. And we know the moon in its natural state, no matter what phase it's in, it deals with the essence of our emotions. So Scorpio will bring all of the muck and mire from the bottom of the pool all the way up to the surface, and it will float up, and one will be confronted with this truth. So some things that are on a psychological level that are really good to look at is your consciousness, period, because we use our consciousness in this mundane reality to manifest many things. However, we ritualize a lot of negativity. Scorpio can bring this to the surface for one to look at, to give you a memo of the wonderful things and also the not so wonderful things that we ritualize and manifest into our reality. And also coming to the realization of soul. And realizing that if you allow your soul to guide you in the management of your personal energy, how are you using your consciousness, your intuitiveness in the essence of your personal energy? Are you allowing people to cross boundaries, or do you are you allowing people to cross boundaries that shouldn't be crossed? Are you not setting boundaries, or are your boundaries too rigid? Do you need to surrender? Do you need to let go and be more of the observer in your reality? Again, Scorpio deals with, from my perspective, when I think of Scorpio, extreme, black and white, no gray area in between. We want to make sure that we don't sting ourselves, that we don't give away too much of our energy because we don't have any boundaries. How are you using your personal energy? Are you not flowing with the essence of the universe? Are you going upstream when you're really supposed to go downstream? Is it the time to go upstream? Because there is a time for that. There are animals in nature that do go upstream. They go against the grain. Looking at all of these things in balance, if you will, it's really a wonderful time to look at the seeds of socialization that are negative to the essence of our soul, to the essence of our growth, if you will. Very important to look at some of these things. Also, how you use your energy. Putting energy into love, wisdom. How are you using that with yourself? How are you using that within your relationships? And are you using this energy in a productive way to maximize growth? Remember, this is also a time of incubation, putting things in the womb. How can you grow your networks? How can you grow your creativity? It's also a wonderful time, again, to expand your to excuse my phone. It seems like everybody is texting me today. How can you nurture your relationships in a better way? How can you grow your creative relationships of what is right now? And I'm saying not anew, but recycling something and making it anew. Now we are there's so much energy in Scorpio family on many different levels of reality that are very deep. It is not really a good time to start anything new because we have Mercury in Scorpio that is going backwards. I love Mercury retrogrades because of the simple fact that Mercury deals with communication, how we communicate. That just doesn't mean documents in the way that we speak. It means body language. It means many different things. Plans, strategic plans of all sorts. So it allows us to go deeper into detail of what already is. What have we missed in accordance to relationship? What have we missed in our relationships? How can we enrich them? How can we rebirth them and regenerate them? Scorpio is all about that as well. How can we go inward with others, not just ourselves, and put something in the womb, seeds in the womb to make it grow? A wonderful time to do these things. Also, family, to face your fears. Again, I'm going back to the psychological part because our psyche and the way that we think is a part of knowing thyself. I would have to be so bold to say that this whole time with Mercury in Scorpio and this new moon in Scorpio and this Jupiter in Scorpio, by the way, that will be in transit until 2016, it's all a theme of know thyself. And going into the deep, dark depths of our psyche could be very, very profound, yet scary at the same time. However, it's a time to look in the eyes of your fears. What does one fear psychologically the most? I've talked about this at the very beginning when it comes to the socialization of our psychology and how we look at certain things. Are we afraid of growth? Are we afraid of what it's going to bring? What's going to fall away at the wayside? Wonderful time to look at these things and look beyond the surface. Also, it's a wonderful time for research, investigative, digging for the truth. And I actually mean physical research. If you're in school right now, wonderful time for that. If you want to go to school, wonderful time for that. Looking beyond the surface, and also individualized research into your favorite subjects. Everyone, well, I shouldn't say everyone has a hobby, but are there new things that you want to try that have been percolating in your subconscious or even in your conscious mind? It's a wonderful time to take the leap of faith and to go out there and to experiment with new things. And it's really not new because it's something that you've pondered within your psychological facilities. You just have never acted on it. So it'd be a wonderful adventure to investigate these things. Let me just talk a little bit about what Scorpio deals with and Pluto. I'm not going to touch on Mars because Scorpio deals a little bit with that Mars energy, but I'm just going to stay on Pluto. Scorpio deals with the 8th house. The 8th house is the support you receive from other people in the areas. Also, one important thing, is the liberation of the soul. So on many different levels of reality, psychologically, physically, out in the world, if you're doing something, this is my perception and what I've seen, if you are not doing things to liberate the essence of your soul, your quote-unquote soul/spirit, the universe, I'm telling you, is breaking things apart by free will or not by free will. If it does not feel good and we still stay on the path that our egos think is good for us, eventually the universe will let it fall away. This is the time for that. I'm telling you. I'm seeing it happen with myself and the people around me. So Scorpio is all about the essence of truth, liberation of the soul. Again, the support you receive from other people and vice versa. What is the support like that you're giving to other people? Are you abusive in nature? Are you empowering in nature? So it's one extreme to the other. So either you are leaving certain situation, places, or things, or the reverse is happening. One needs to analyze this. Scorpio deals again with sex, taxes, death, partners, resources, inheritance, regeneration of all kind. Moral issues, secrets, endings, physical regeneration, and psychological rebirth, degeneration, death, and truth. And also, one that I didn't say that I'm going to say now is hidden enemies. Are you the enemy of yourself or in your environment? You might find of some truths or some things that you need to know that you've been searching for. All of this is going to come up to the surface. Again, are you the enemy? Are you your own worst enemy? Are you getting in the way of your own psychological, physical, and spiritual growth, monetary growth? Are you getting in the way of that? Is the way that you're thinking sabotaging things? And not only with yourself, but in your environment. So all of these things are coming up, psychological aspect of rebirth and truth, and us getting the memo to recognize these things. Pluto deals with replication process like conception. This is why I say at this time, it's wonderful with your relationships and with self to plant those seeds in the birth stage so they can grow. It also deals with the masses. It deals with waste, subversion, atomic power, and crime. And in a negative aspect, you can see these things percolating. Because, in the negative sense, if you will, because not everybody is working on themselves, you can see the chaos, the explosion of this new moon in Scorpio, the confusion of Mercury in Scorpio out in society, if you will. For example, the LAX shooting, and then, the kid in New Jersey who decided to take his life due to depression and so on and so forth. Depression and the dark side of psychology, Scorpio deals with as well. So Scorpio can be very enlightened, but it also can be very dark and heavy in not such a good way. And you can see reflections of this in and outside of ourselves. Let's see, what else does it deal with? Again, going back to our psychological facilities, it deals with phobias. Pluto does, our obsessions. What are we obsessing over? What are our phobias? We say one thing, but our psyche means something else. We say that we want growth, but sometimes we're fearful of growth. We're fearful, of being successful in the world, because being successful in the world there comes many things with that. Friends drop away, situations drop away, all kinds of things drop away because we're growing and we are no longer vibrating at that frequency. So a lot of things drop away, and a lot of people are afraid of success because they will lose certain emotional ties to people and people, places, or things. So this is something that one needs to look at. There's also one thing to understand too, and one thing that I love about Scorpio dealing with the essence of Pluto is that it's slow growth. fast growth in certain things in our reality can be wonderful, but I love slow growth because it allows you to take a little bit off, bite off a little, chew a little, and enjoy the essence of the taste without choking to death. Especially in the area of spiritual growth. We want so much at one time, but sometimes that could spiritually hurt us because we're not ready for that information. So one of the things that I love about Scorpio and Pluto is that it brings about slow growth. So you get a little bit at a time, and spiritual growth in the essence and psychological and the coupling of relationship is very good in nature, because when things grow slowly, you can see things that you probably wouldn't have seen if the growth was very fast in nature. Pluto also deals in group factors. And again, earlier I said the masses. So this is why I say it's wonderful to look at your resources if you're a creator of what already is and expanding upon that, creating collaboration with like souls, if you will. And like-minded to a certain extent, but like souls, and create and expand that network in a very creative way. It's a wonderful time to do that. Transmutation, beginnings, Pluto deals with endings, isolation. And isolation can also be good or bad. Are we isolating ourselves because we are giving too much, which is a wonderful thing, or are we isolating ourselves to a detriment that could actually hurt us? Are we going to the dark side of the moon by ourselves? That's not healthy. So we need to look at all of these things. And one of the things that I love as well about Pluto and Scorpio is that it uncovers, it shows you what develops secretly and uncovers it. So family, for all of you individuals who have been working on projects, working on yourselves, relationships, be patient. Remember, Pluto moves very slowly, and that's a wonderful thing, but eventually things will be uncovered and be revealed for all to see. One just has to have patience. And also remember that Pluto's action is inevitable, that eventually it will come up to the surface and be seen, but one, again, has to have patience in these dealings. Again, these are some other things the Scorpio deals with that I mentioned earlier. Deep research, investigation, hidden assets of reality. What are your resources? In reference to what I said earlier, are you skimming through the details to see what your assets are? Psychologically, physically, spiritually, who are the ones who could be your mentors? Look at all of that. Make sure that you're looking at the details good. And also sleep. I've been looking at some people in my networks, and they've been saying that they've had a hard time sleeping. That is very much a part of the Scorpio energy, but from a spiritual perspective, I perceive that when one cannot sleep, or one is sleeping and gets up in the middle of the night and they're wide awake, it's because spirit is literally knocking on your door and wants you to pay attention to something that is percolating and going on. They want you to be silent or to create. I've created many things in the middle of the night. Spirit has woken me up and is like, here's all of this information, and I get flooded with information and I write it down. So pay attention. I know that it's hard because people are like, oh, I'm tired, and so on and so forth. However, I guarantee that there is a deeper reasoning, a deeper purpose to the essence of not having sleep. Just make sure you're paying attention and that all your senses are open to receive. And also, I've been working with my chakra. There's a wonderful chakra to work with at this time. Your sacral chakra, which deals with the essence of Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And cleaning the essence of that out, making sure that when you visualize, you see that chakra expanding in nature. and not shrinking. Sometimes, and there's always an exception to the rule when it comes to that. But cleaning things out, making sure that your energy attachments, when I think of the solar plexus and the sacral, I think of a place where we give away our energy, give away too much energy, or we take too much energy in. So this is a wonderful time to go deep within and visualize what needs to be visualized so we can unattach, disengage, and transmute the energy that we don't want back to where it needs to go, and amplify the energy that we have ourselves. And I'm looking at my notes right here because I want to give you some of the things that the sacral area deals with. So I'm going through my my grimoire, and these are some very powerful things. Excuse me, that the sacral chakra deals with. It deals with cravings for physical pleasures such as food, drink, sex, or thrill seeking. It deals with addictions, drugs, alcohol, food, and other substances. Your body, exercise habits, sleep patterns, weight, health, and thoughts about your appearance. All of these are psychological, not all of them. They're physical and psychological in nature, which aligns up with the essence of Scorpio, and also the essence of, the essence of our earthly type of, that's not really the right word in the word that I want to say. Desires. There we go. Desire, in not such a good way in the mundane world of reality. Things that we have been socialized to exacerbate in nature. Very much profound. All of these things affect our spiritual well-being. And again, Scorpio deals with the essence of sex. A lot of people don't like to talk about that. How are we using that as a weapon? Sex most definitely can be used as a weapon in the things that we do in our intimate relationships. Relationships and intimacy is a very powerful alchemy. So if you're having issues in that area, that will come up in nature. It's a very powerful alchemy. And I'm mentioning it because it trickles over into the topic again that I said at the beginning of the video, know thyself, and how one can use or project our true spiritual selves in a real life, mundane, practical way, and not just in ritual. This is the year of that. It's the year of knowing thyself. It is the year of knowing theory, however, being knowingful. There's a difference between knowledge, wisdom, and knowing. And to me, that is the theme of this year. And that trickles over into every relationship on planet Earth. And the most important one that you have is the one with your partner, which I believe and perceive that came up in the reading of the year. Our relationships, our intimate relationships, our home. Sex within itself is an alchemy. It is a very powerful one in the essence of creation. And it ties into the essence of Scorpio. Scorpio is about death, rebirth, and creation. We do this in the essence of intimacy. So I'm mentioning it because it's a very powerful thing. How are we using that in our lives? How are we using that as a tool? Is it empowering us? Are we having intimate relationships with people and because of the human desires, and then having people offload their spiritual energy on us? It gets real deep. As a matter of fact, me and Ms. Paula have been speaking, and at a certain point I'm going to actually talk about the alchemy of this, because it's very powerful in nature, and we have been socialized psychologically. This goes back to Scorpio, along with the essence of sex, the deep aspects of sex. to look at it in a certain type of way. However, it is a very spiritual alchemy in nature, and a very profound one, if you will. And that sacral chakra deals in that as well. It deals with the essence of the womb. The sacral chakra, key words: relationships, creativity, sexuality, control, and money. Sex can be used as a weapon as control and power. Scorpio also deals with the house of power. Money and power fall into that. Power trickles over many institutions, many ideological institutions, and sex is one of them, and sex is very powerful. We're talking about a deep, dark issue, but this is Scorpio. This is what it is. So again, I've been working with this chakra, cleaning it out. It is the essence of the womb. It is where the sacral and the solar plexus is where people attach their energy to you, where you do the same, and where people offload on you. So you can do some very deep work with the sacral chakra. And I always connect this with the solar plexus, if you will, because the solar plexus deals with power. It deals with control, and things of this nature. What you fear, the fear of being or desire to be a powerful person, fear of authority figures, obsessions with power, concerns about people or nations that wield a lot of power. Current or past experiences, in which you felt overwhelmed by another person. Control, fears of being controlled by others, fears of losing control, desires for control over yourself, situations of other people, current or past experience in which you felt controlled or out of control. So this is a 5 time, and we're still, even though I'm making this video on notes of the new moon in Scorpio / solar eclipse, we are still in that Scorpio energy. So all of the themes that I'm speaking of are very deep in nature, and these are 2 chakras that are fabu and connected to work with because of the socialization that we've been given in society and also in our spiritual communities as people. I mean, it gets very deep in nature, but this is what Scorpio is about. It's about going beyond the surface and peeling back the onion to see what's really percolating. So all of the things that I'm talking about are very pertinent in nature. May make you feel uncomfortable, but this is what it is. These are all things that create energy blocks within our bodies. So these are wonderful chakras to work with. And within yourself, outside of yourself, within yourself, and of course dealing with the dark side of Scorpio. Dealing with these chakras and dealing in the deep energy of Scorpio in this new moon and solar eclipse can bring out lessons on jealousy, betrayal, control, and power plays again. And the truth of that, not just with people, because we always look outside of ourselves first, but how are you using these tools? How are you feeling? Do you wield that power out into the world, and vice versa? How people are willing that back to you. And some of the journal prompts that I love that I've created are, do you express your creativity? I think that these are really wonderful Scorpion deep type of things that if you meditate upon them, you might be very surprised on some of the information that you receive from the essence of the universe. Are you comfortable with your sexuality and able to receive nurturing from others? Do you need to control or give your power away to get something in return? Are you addicted to alcohol and drugs, sex, people, or something else? Do you suffer from guilt, shame, anger, and are judgmental towards the past? We always talk, and I'm just going to make a little note, we always talk about people being judgmental towards others, but how are we doing that with ourselves? We're very judgmental about our reality and our story. Wonderful time to look at these things. Do you find it difficult to make money? What is your perception and your psychological, your deep, dark Scorpion thoughts on money? Do you go to bed ritualizing in your mind? These are all wonderful things to look at as we percolate from this energy of the solar eclipse of Scorpio. Do you stand up for yourself? Say what you mean and mean what you say. Do you make everything a crisis? Are you a drama king or queen? These are truths. Remember, Scorpio deals with the essence of truth, and these are very hard questions to ask yourself. If you will, because sometimes the truth can be hard to take. Remember, the Scorpion/Scorpio promises transformation. Whether that transformation is calm or chaotic depends on how we use our energies. And our energy comes from the way that we think, which emanates into our aura and it pours out into the world. So really think about these things. Scorpio digs down deep. Some other wonderful prompts. Are you channeling your passions? When I think of Scorpio, I think of passion. Your passion, your drive. And that's because Scorpio is also equated with Mars. But we're not going to talk about Mars, but it has a lot of passion. Passion up in there, y'all. Are you using your passions correctly? Are you allowing your passions to override your common sense? Do you need to balance your relationships with your solitude? Like I talked about before, Scorpio is a very solitary type of creature. But are you using it in an empowering way, if you will? Are you becoming too solitary? Do you need to merge your physical passions with your spiritual passions, but in a way that's right for you? That's another thing to look at. Are you ignoring your psychic perceptions only to be stung by the stinger? And what I mean by that is, and me and Ms. Paula have had many conversations about this. We have spiritual software that we come to planet Earth with. And we get these synchronicities, these signs. But for some reason, because we're human beings and we have an ego and we've been socialized to think that everything needs to be Hollywood, we miss a lot of synchronicities. We ignore a lot of things that spirit is sending to us. And we end up getting stung, and the writing is on the wall, but we don't even pay attention. We need to really analyze that. It may not come in the way that one wants it to come, or in the way that we perceive it. However, spirit is many, many things. And the messages that are sent can be very subtle, and they can be very dynamic in nature, but they're all around us. We just need to pay attention. Spirit talks to us all the time on many different levels, not just through the essence of our spiritual software, but through people, places, and things, to get the frequency across to what needs to happen and to go down. We just need to pay attention more. I hope that the notes for this new Moon in Scorpio solar eclipse have helped you. Make comments, if you will, and I will continue to make notes for the different moon activities that come up. I send you a lot of love, peace, and joy in this wonderful time of Scorpio. Don't be afraid of getting stung. This is what this creation is all about. Our life is a medicine wheel to learn the lessons, to be observers of this reality. And it may be chaotic, and sometimes it's calm, and all of these other things. Regardless, put no expectation on them, and ebb and flow. Go with the flow of the universe. You'd be surprised what can go down and what can happen. And until next time, family, bye-bye.